Hello everyone, welcome to Missing Piece. I'm Dr. P. A few days ago, on August 17, 2020, a shocking and extremely heartbreaking incident happened in Foshan, a city in South China. An 88-year-old grandma got tripped over by a leash on a running dog and fell hard to the ground with her face and chest banged on the concrete floor. Let's first take a look at the videos captured by a surveillance camera nearby the location of the incident. So you can see at first the grandma was just walking around by herself, and here we see a Samoyed chasing after a husky. We can see that there was a leash on the Samoyed. As the dog ran close to grandma, the leash wrapped onto her feet and dragged her to the air. She then fell down hard, facing down to the ground. Blood came out under her body. Then we see a young teenage girl running to the scene. She clearly saw the grandma laying on the ground, and people nearby told her that her dog had hit someone. However, she did not give any attention to the severely injured grandma and fled from the scene with her Samoyed. After a few minutes, doctors arrived at the scene, but it was too late. Unfortunately, the severely injured grandma passed away on the same day. What irritated people more was that the Samoyed does not even belong to this girl. It was stolen. So this 12-year-old teenage girl also has several theft records according to local police. Since the dog was stolen, lawyers claim that the dog owner should not have any responsibility for this incident, but this teenage girl would hold 100% or major responsibility. However, because the girl was below age 14, she would not be subjected to criminal charges for this incident according to China's juvenile law. She will receive education from family and school, but this still does not change the fact that she resulted in the death of a person. Should teenagers share more responsibilities than none in criminal cases they're involved in? This reminds me of another shocking incident involving teenagers earlier this year in South Korea. At midnight of March 29th, 2020, in Daejeon, a city in South Korea, an 18-year-old young man Lee was riding his motorcycle for his delivery job as usual. He was a recent high school graduate who was very excited for his college acceptance and was working hard to save money for his education as well as the next chapters in his life. As he saw the green light, he started to move. However, a random sedan just flew through the red lights and collided with the motorcycle Lee was riding. The collision was so terrible and severe that only the chassis of the motorcycle was left and all other parts just scattered all around the street. Lee didn't show any signs of life after the collision and died shortly after. It was an unfortunate accident that killed a young man who was just about to start a new journey in his life. What made this accident more shocking was that the criminals who took away the life from a young man were 13-year-old middle school students. Teenagers, driving without license or insurance, running a red light, hit and run, homicide. There are already so many crazy elements listed in this accident, but only more to come as we dig deeper into this incident. Based on the police report, on the date of March 29, 2020, a group of 8 middle school students stole a rental car in Seoul and drove down to Daejeon, which is approximately 140 kilometers or 100 miles south from Seoul. A few hours after the car owner reported to the police, the stolen sedan was spotted by Daejeon CCTV and was chased by local police officers. The middle school students' attempts to drive away from the police officers but hit a taxi, ran over the red light, and then, as you expected, the accident happened. Lee and his motorcycles were hit. The middle school student did not stop until the sedan broke down with airbags activated. As their car stopped, the middle school students started to run away, but they didn't even look back nor care about what might have happened to the motorcycle driver. Among the 8 students, 6 were caught by police shortly after the case, and the other 2 were also caught later in Seoul after they stole another car from a city named Daejeon. You may wonder, what happened to the students after they got caught? Well, all of them were released shortly after except for the driver and another student who helped steal the car. They were later sent to a family court. Because they're all under age 14, none of those middle school students are considered as young offenders under Korea's juvenile law. and will not be charged with any criminal responsibilities for taking the life of Lee. People in Korea were outraged not only because how the law was protected these teenagers from getting punishments for what they have done in these incidents, but also how the middle school students reacted to these accidents with their shameless attitude. The students post on social media, "I just filmed Fast and Furious. Send me a letter when I'm in prison. LOLs." And pictures of them with the stolen car at the police station with the message, "I'll be freed again." This shows their unapologetic attitude and their awareness of the juvenile law. They simply won't be punished. Two students came out and were interviewed by the media. Their statements were even more irritating. During the interview, they told a story that was quite different from what the police first revealed to the public. One student described that before heading to Daejeon for Seoul, the group visited several cities and robbed an arcade room for cash. They then drove down to Daejeon where the heartbreaking incident happened. The interviewer asked if the students knew that stealing vehicles and driving without license are illegal. The students replied with no guilt, that it was not their first time stealing a car, and all the teenagers around them have done similar things. After the interview, the media shared a similar incident that the same group of students were involved, only 8 days before the accident that killed Lee. At that time, they stole a vehicle and went to Gumi and robbed a gas station for cash. They were caught on the security camera and then were sent to a police station. Only a few hours later, they were released and sent back home. During the time at police department, they took a picture and posted on social media with the following message: "Ready to play with this Gumi police department," showing an attitude without any reflection on what they have done. As a result of this incident, the public's perception on the juvenile law became the worst. The juvenile law was established to protect the underage by giving them a second chance. However, in recent years, we're seeing more and more cases where this law was abused. Teen criminals utilize the court's weak practice against young offenders and are committing crimes without being held responsible. Is the juvenile law protecting the right people? Why is age 14 the age limit for criminal responsibilities? While reducing the age of criminal responsibility is not the most desirable solution, as if we reduce the age limit to 12, what do we do if we have a suspect who is 11? Are we going to further reduce the age limit? The solution should come from better educations from families, schools, and the society, as well as appropriate actions and programs to prevent juvenile crimes. We need to figure out why teenagers will commit crimes, in addition to giving them a second chance to restart their lives. After all, in both cases, real human lives were taken away. It is an extremely frustrating fact that should not be changed by the age of people who caused these incidents. This is the end of our story today. Please follow us for weekly mystery stories. If there are certain cases you want me to cover, please comment below the video. I'll see you next time.